You can't just walk away from this.
Let go of me!
Not until you listen.
You're hurting me!
The room was full of people, but the poor wife felt completely alone. She stood near the wall with her head slightly down, holding an old worn bag close to her chest. Her clothes were clean but simple, and her shoes showed years of use. Everyone in the room looked richer than her, louder than her, stronger than her. Her husband stood in the center, smiling proudly. Talking to relatives and friends, he laughed loudly as if the world belonged to him. When he noticed her standing quietly, his smile turned into mockery. He pointed at her and said she never fit into his life. He said she came with empty hands and brought only shame. People laughed, not loudly, but enough to hurt. No one stopped him. The wife said nothing. She did not cry, she did not argue. Her silence felt strange, almost heavy inside her chest. Her heart was racing, not because of fear, but because of a memory she tried hard to forget. The husband walked closer and spoke in a cruel tone. He said she was lucky he even married her. He said she should be thankful for food and shelter. He said a woman like her deserved nothing more. The room felt smaller. The air felt tight. Some people avoided looking at her face. Others watched her closely, waiting for tears, but no tears came. She held the old bag tighter. The bag looked cheap, faded, and out of place in such a rich house. No one knew what was inside it. No one even cared. The husband laughed again and said she had no family. He said no father ever came looking for her. He said she was alone in the world. Those words hit her harder than all the insults before. For a brief moment, her eyes lifted toward the door. Not with hope, but with fear, as if she expected something she did not want to face. At that exact moment, a soft sound came from outside. The sound of a car stopping, a very expensive car. No one noticed. The laughter continued, the insults continued. The wife slowly looked down again. Her fingers trembled slightly on the bag handle inside her mind. A voice whispered that the past was not done with her yet. Some pain is never shouted, some pain lives quietly inside the heart, and this was one of those moments. This is silent family tears, a place where hidden pain, betrayal, and regret come to light. If you believe the deepest wounds happen inside families. Subscribe and stay with us. The husband raised his voice again. He said tonight would be the last night she embarrassed him. He said he would end everything soon. People nodded as if his words were normal. The wife felt a strange calm wash over her. She had felt pain before. She had survived worse days. This was not the end. Outside, the car door opened, then another door. Heavy footsteps touched the ground. Still, no one noticed. The husband turned away from her, already bored. He began talking about business, money, and success. He spoke as if she no longer existed. The wife took one slow breath. She whispered nothing, but inside her heart. Something finally shifted. She remembered being a child. Holding a man's hand in a crowded place. Losing that hand forever, and growing up believing she had no one. The old bag suddenly felt heavier. Not because of weight, but because of truth. A shadow appeared near the doorway, long, calm, and powerful. Someone stood there silently, watching. The wife sensed it before she saw it. Her body stiffened, her breath slowed. The husband kept laughing. Unaware, the room kept buzzing with noise. Then a deep voice spoke from the door. It was calm, controlled, and firm. The voice asked a simple question. Is she here? The room fell silent. Every head turned, every smile froze. The wife closed her eyes for 1 second, as if preparing herself when she opened them. Her face showed no shock, only acceptance. She knew this moment would come. She just never expected it to hurt this much, and this was only the beginning. Asterisk, the silence in the room felt unnatural after the question was asked. No one moved, no one spoke. The husband slowly turned toward the door. Confusion on his face? He expected to see another guest. Maybe a business contact. What he did not expect was the presence that filled the doorway. A tall, older man stood there calmly. His suit was dark and perfectly fitted. His posture showed control and authority. 2 men stood behind him, quiet and alert. The husband forced a smile, trying to hide his discomfort. He asked who the man was and why he interrupted. His tone carried fake confidence. The older man did not answer immediately. His eyes moved past the husband. They stopped on the poor wife. The room seemed to fade for her. All she could feel was the weight of that stare. It was not angry. It was not proud. It was full of pain. She felt her chest tighten. Her hands gripped the old bag harder. Her legs felt weak. The husband laughed nervously and said this was a private family matter. He said strangers were not welcome. Some relatives nodded in agreement. The older man finally spoke. He said he was not a stranger. He said he had been looking for someone for a very long time. The wife lowered her eyes. Her breathing became slow and careful. She already felt what was coming, but she did not want to hear it yet. The husband rolled his eyes and mocked the situation. He said everyone was looking for someone these days. He joked that maybe the man was lost. The joke fell flat. No one laughed this time. The older man took one step forward, then another. Each step felt heavy in the room. He stopped a few feet away from the wife. For a moment, he said nothing. He looked at her face carefully. As if memorizing it, the wife felt tears rise, but she forced them back. She had cried enough in her life. The man's voice softened when he finally spoke again. He said her name, her real name, a name no one in that room had ever used. Her body froze, her heart skipped, her eyes lifted slowly. The husband frowned and asked how he knew that name. He accused the man of playing games. The older man ignored him completely. He spoke only to the wife now. He asked if she still remembered a small silver mark on her wrist. Her breath caught. Her fingers trembled without thinking. She pulled her sleeve slightly back. The mark was still there, faded but real. A quiet gasp spread through the room. The husband stepped closer, trying to see. His face changed from anger to confusion. The older man's eyes filled with tears. He said he had searched hospitals, shelters, cities, and countries. He said he never stopped, not for one day. The wife shook her head slowly. She whispered that her father was dead. That was what she was told. That was what she believed. The man shook his head. He said he was alive. He said he was standing right in front of her. The room exploded with whispers. Relatives looked at each other in shock. Some stepped back, others leaned closer. The husband laughed suddenly. Loud and sharp, he said this was nonsense. He said she was poor. He said she always had been. The older man turned his eyes toward the husband for the first time. The warmth disappeared instantly. His gaze was cold and heavy. He asked the husband how long he had known her. The husband proudly said several years. He said long enough to know she had nothing. The man nodded slowly, he said. That explained everything. One of the guards stepped forward and placed a folder on the table. The folder was thick and sealed. The sound it made felt louder than it should have. The husband stared at it. His smile faded. The older man explained calmly that mistakes were made years ago, that lies were told, that a child was taken away and hidden. The wife closed her eyes. Tears finally escaped, but they were silent. She remembered nights of hunger, lonely birthdays. Asking the sky why no one wanted her, the husband suddenly shouted that this was a lie. He said she was embarrassing him again. He told her to stop the drama. She looked at him then. Really looked at him. For the first time, there was no fear in her eyes. She asked him quietly if this was still funny. Her voice was calm but strong. He opened his mouth. No words came out. The older man spoke again. He said the documents in the folder were verified. Legal global, he said. Her name was listed as the only child. The only heir. The room felt like it was spinning. The husband grabbed the back of a chair to steady himself. The wife felt dizzy, not because of money, but because her entire life was changing. The man said there was more to explain. Much more, but not here. Not in a place filled with cruelty. He offered his hand to the wife, not as a demand, but as a choice. She looked at his hand, then at her husband. Then at the people who laughed at her moments ago. Her heart ached, but it also felt light. She placed the old bag on the floor. The sound echoed softly. The husband whispered her name. For the first time without mockery, with fear, she did not answer. She took one step toward the older man. The room held its breath. Outside, the night felt different. Heavy, waiting, and deep inside the wife. A truth finally settled. Her silence was no longer weakness. It was power. And the biggest storm had not even arrived yet. The car moved slowly through the quiet streets. City lights passed by the window like distant memories. Inside the back seat, the wife sat stiff and silent. Her hands rested on her lap, still shaking slightly. The older man sat across from her. He did not speak right away. He did not rush her. He understood silence too well. The guards drove without a word. The world outside felt far away. As if her life had split in two before and after, she finally broke the silence. Her voice was low and careful. She asked why he waited so long. The question hung heavy in the air. The man closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, regret filled his face. He said he never stopped searching. He said powerful people lied to him. They told him she was gone forever. She listened, but did not respond. Her heart wanted answers, but her pain wanted distance. He said he became rich trying to find her, that every business deal, every billion, meant nothing without her. He said money was only a tool, not a victory. Her lips trembled. She remembered nights crying alone, wondering why she was not worth looking for. The car stopped in front of a large, quiet building. Tall glass, soft lights, guarded gates. She had never seen a place like this before. The man asked her to come inside, not as an order, but as a request. She hesitated. Her body moved slowly. Fear walked beside her inside. The place felt cold and perfect. Everything was clean, calm, and controlled. Nothing like the messy life she survived. They sat in a private room. A warm drink was placed in front of her. She did not touch it. The man pulled out old photos. Small, faded, worn by time. Photos of a baby, photos of a smiling woman. Her breath caught. She recognized her own eyes in the child. She recognized her mother's smile. The man said her mother loved her more than life. He said her mother hid her to protect her. From danger? From enemies? The wife shook her head slowly. She said her mother died poor and sick. She said protection felt like abandonment. The man accepted her anger. He said he deserved it. He said he failed them both. Tears slid down her face, not loud, not dramatic, just real. She asked about the money, about the inheritance everyone whispered about. The man explained carefully. He said the fortune existed long before tonight, that it grew while he searched, that she never knew because she was never meant to be used. He said she was never poor by blood, only by circumstance. Her mind struggled to accept it. She thought of her husband's words. The laughter, the shame, the man's voice hardened slightly. He said no one had the right to break her. He said the world respects money, but he respects character. She looked at him closely then, not as a lost child, but as a woman who survived. She asked what would happen next. He said only what she allowed. Nothing more, nothing less. Meanwhile, in the old house, chaos had taken over. The husband paced back and forth. Sweat covered his face. He shouted at his family. He demanded answers. He blamed everyone. The folder still sat on the table, untouched, feared. He finally opened it. His hands shook. His eyes scanned numbers he could barely understand. His knees felt weak. 20 billion felt unreal, impossible. He remembered every insult, every laugh, every cruel word. Fear wrapped around his chest. Not fear of losing money, fear of losing control. Back in the quiet building, the wife stood near a window. She looked down at the city. So many lives below, so many silent stories. The man joined her. He said tomorrow would be difficult, that the truth would become public. She asked if people would change. He answered honestly. He said yes, but not because she deserved it. Because money scares people. She nodded slowly. That answer hurt more than lies. She said she did not want revenge. She did not want headlines. She wanted peace. The man respected her wish. He said strength is choosing calm over cruelty. She thought of her husband one last time. Not with love, not with hate, but with clarity. She realized she was never weak. She was only unheard that night. She slept in a soft bed, but her dreams were heavy. Filled with voices from the past, in the dark, she made a decision. One that would shock everyone, including her father. She would return not as a victim, not as a billionaire, but as herself. And when morning came, the world would learn. Silence does not mean empty. It means waiting. Asterisk morning arrived quietly, but nothing about this day would be calm. The wife stood in front of the mirror. She looked the same, simple clothes. Tied hair, tired eyes. Only her heart felt different. The older man waited nearby. He knew she had decided something important. He did not try to stop her. She told him she wanted to go back. Back to the house where she was humiliated. Back to the people who laughed at her. He asked if she was sure. His voice carried concern. She nodded slowly. She said running away would not heal her. Facing the truth would. The car moved again through the city. But this time, she watched everything clearly. No fear, no shaking. At the old house, people had already gathered. News spreads fast when money is involved. Whispers filled the air. The husband stood near the door, his face pale, his eyes restless. He had not slept. Every sound made him jump. When the black car stopped outside, the crowd went silent. She stepped out first. Not dressed rich, not dressed powerful. Just calm. People stared. Some felt shame. Others felt curiosity. The husband's heart dropped. He saw her walk back in with steady steps. The older man followed behind her. His presence alone changed the air. The husband forced a smile. He walked toward her and tried to speak. But his voice broke. He said he misunderstood everything. He said emotions ran high last night. He said he never meant to hurt her. She listened without interrupting. Her face showed nothing. He reached for her hand. She gently stepped back. That small movement spoke louder than any scream. The relatives gathered around, the same faces that once laughed. Now filled with fear and regret, one aunt apologized softly. Another blamed misunderstanding. Words poured out too late. The wife looked around the room. She remembered standing in the same place. Feeling invisible, the older man finally spoke. His voice was calm but firm. He introduced himself clearly. He said he was her father. He said he was also the legal guardian of her inheritance. Gasps filled the room. Phones came out. People whispered numbers under their breath. The husband froze. The reality finally crushed him. He fell to his knees suddenly, not from love, but from fear. He begged her to forgive him. He said he was blind. He said money changed everything. She looked down at him. Not angry, not proud, just tired. She asked him one simple question. If the money never existed, would you still be sorry? He opened his mouth. No answer came. Silence exposed him. The crowd shifted uncomfortably. Some looked away. Others felt the truth hit deep. She turned to her father. She asked him to wait. Then she faced everyone. Her voice was soft but clear. She said she was never poor in heart, only poor in support. She said she stayed silent because she believed love meant patience. But silence should never mean humiliation. Her words were simple, but they cut deep. She said respect cannot be bought and regret cannot be timed. The husband cried openly now. His tears felt empty. She did not raise her voice. She did not insult anyone. She simply said she was done. The father stepped forward then. He said no money would be used to harm, but consequences would still exist. He announced that all ties were legally ended. Business connections cut, support removed. The husband screamed her name, but she did not turn back. She walked out calmly. The sound of her steps echoed loudly. Outside, reporters waited. Questions flew through the air. She stopped for a moment. She said only one sentence. She said wealth did not save her. Truth did. Inside the car, her hands finally trembled. The weight of everything hit her at once. The father watched her closely, proud but careful. He knew the hardest part was still coming. Back at the house, the husband sat alone. The crowd disappeared, the noise faded, only regret remained. The wife closed her eyes as the car moved away. She thought it was over, but deep inside something warned her. The final truth was still hidden, and when it came out, it would change everything she believed about her inheritance and about herself. The city looked different that evening. Lights felt softer, sounds felt distant. The wife sat quietly beside her father in the moving car. Her mind replayed every word spoken that day. Every face she saw change when money entered the room. She asked him to stop the car near a quiet park. She said she needed air. He agreed without question. They walked slowly along the path. Leaves moved gently under their feet. The world felt calm, almost unreal. She finally spoke. She said she felt empty. Not happy, not proud. Her father listened closely. He did not interrupt. He knew this moment was not about wealth. She said people respected her only after they feared her money. She said that truth hurt more than poverty ever did. He nodded. He said, "Money reveals people. It does not create them." She stopped walking and looked at him. She asked the question that had been growing in her heart. She asked what her inheritance truly meant. He took a deep breath. He said the money was real, the power was real, but the choice was always hers. She asked if he ever wondered who she would become without it. He answered honestly. He said that question haunted him every day. They sat on a bench in silence. The city moved around them. Unaware of the storm inside her, she made a decision then. One that surprised even herself. She said she did not want the money. Not in the way everyone expected. Her father turned toward her slowly. Shock crossed his face, but he did not stop her. She said she wanted to keep only enough to live safely, to help quietly, to protect herself. She said the rest should be used differently. Not to control lives, but to heal them. She said she wanted to create something in her mother's name. A foundation for women who suffer in silence. Women who are mocked, ignored, and broken behind closed doors. Her father's eyes filled with tears, not of sadness, but of pride. He said her mother would have made the same choice. Meanwhile, across the city, the husband sat alone in the dark house. No lights on, no voices left. He stared at old photos on his phone. Photos where she stood quietly beside him. Smiling softly, he remembered how he mocked that smile, how he called it weakness. Now the house felt too large, too empty. He realized something too late. He did not lose her because she became rich. He lost her because he was cruel, back in the quiet room later that night. Legal papers lay open on a table. Pens waited patiently. The father explained everything one last time. He said once she signed, there would be no turning back. She held the pen. Her hand steady, her heart calm. She signed her name not as a poor wife, not as a billionaire heir, but as a woman who chose herself. The next morning, the world woke up to shocking news. Headlines spoke of billions redirected, of an heir who refused power. People were confused. Some called her foolish. Others called her brave. She did not read any of it. Weeks passed quietly. She moved into a small, peaceful home, simple, warm, and safe. She began working with women quietly, listening more than speaking, helping without cameras. One day a letter arrived, no return name, no apology written clearly. She read it once, then folded it gently, and placed it away. Forgiveness did not mean return. Enclosure did not mean contact. Her father visited often, not as a powerful man, but as a parent learning how to be present. They shared meals, shared silence, shared healing. One evening, as the sun lowered, she stood by the window and smiled softly. For the first time in her life, she felt rich in the only way that mattered. Not because of money, but because of peace. Some stories end with revenge. Others end with regret. This one ended with choice, because silence is not weakness, and dignity cannot be bought. And sometimes, the greatest inheritance is knowing your worth.